Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, all, or good morning, I guess, depending on where you are. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar, which is really focused around three new features that we just rolled out that are designed to make your supply chain management more efficient and more effective. I am the Director of Client Services here at OMX. My name is Godfrey Ntunzi. And I'll basically be taking you through the platform. If you do have any questions, you can just type them in at the bottom and I'll address them at the end. Really what we'll do is we'll start with a quick refresher of the marketplace, as there are some concepts that roll into the three features that we'll be talking about. So once we've done that refresher, we will then go into messaging 2.0. Then we'll look at the supplier questionnaire and finally end off with some supplier ratings. So to start off with the marketplace, as I'm sure most of you know, this is really our database of suppliers and where you can come to engage with suppliers and with other companies within the OMX platform, but also you can use the platform as a simple CRM tool. For example's sake, if we are at a conference and we meet a fictitious company, in this case, Reliable Aerospace Components, we can go into OMX, look at Reliable Aerospace, and give them a tag. This is really a custom label that we've created for them. Internally, you can create your own custom tag, so you're not, if you were to go onto your profile, this would actually be blank. You wouldn't have anything to auto-populate, but as you start to populate, you'll obviously have auto options to select tags. And these tags can pretty much be anything. So for this example, we will say, you know what, we think Reliable Aerospace Components is a great Aboriginal-owned business that we should be potentially doing business with. We can actually save that tag and create a note. And this is what I mean by the platform being a custom CRM tool where you can add notes that are timestamped, but also these labels that you can filter through the marketplace by. And as we go through the messaging and all the other tools, you'll see where these tags can come into handy. So with that being said, we can look at the new feature messaging 2.0. If you recall, the messaging tool used to be quite simple, where it was a company to company messaging interaction. But if I go to compose a message, as you can see, you now have a variety of options where not only is it a one-to-one option, you can actually send a message to multiple companies. So we could send a message to Reliable Aerospace Components, and we could send one to OMX. Within this, we could also go outside of the OMX platform and send it to specific email addresses. So if I wanted to, I could put godfrey@theomx.com. And if there's any sort of program, sorry about that. And if there is some sort of program we are tracking within OMX, within the projects and programs section of OMX, I could select that particular program and I could stipulate at what stage did I message them at? So here you can say, you know, we started speaking to reliable aerospace components. So, that's in either or. We started speaking to reliable aerospace components back when this project was in the pursuit phase. On top of that, again, the tags come into play here where these tags are linked to the marketplace tags. So again, you could say, you know what, this is an Aboriginal owned business, so let's tag it to that particular activity. So within OMX, you can tag various activities to the projects, to the programs, and to the tags that you've created within the marketplace or within the projects and programs section of OMX. This way, you're always able to keep track of your activities and associate them with the tags of the programs that are necessary. Finally, at the bottom, you have the option to mark sent copy private. What this means is within various organizations, you might have a large number of users, but you only want certain users, or you don't want certain users to be privy to this message. You can actually select mark sent copy private as yes. And what that means is when they go into the, let me just send this real quick. X, Y, Z. So I'll show you where this goes shortly. But that mark sent private option, basically when users that aren't privy to that message go into sent mail, they won't be able to see it in the history. So it'll basically be an invisible message that you've sent. On top of that, we've added new spam controls where you can actually select certain messages as spam. So I can say, you know what, OMX has been sending me a ton of messages and it really just looks like spam. So when I go into the message, I can select this is spam. Now, what that means is every message OMX has sent me historically disappears into my spam. The account management team on OMX is also notified of this, and they will investigate this and see if OMX is in fact spam. If it's not spam and you want to undo what you just did, you just select all, select this is not spam. Once I hit OK and I go back into my inbox, as you'll see, OMX is present again. So that's essentially the new features to the messaging 2.0 features. Now, what we'll look at next is supplier ratings. Supplier ratings are really the most effective way of extracting information from suppliers that you deem necessary. So a lot of suppliers will use the marketplace to message OEMs. The challenge there is as a buyer, OEM, or contractor, you're not, they might not be sending you all the information that you seem to be necessary. So you can actually create a questionnaire. And this questionnaire basically dictates what sort of information that they need to provide you with if they want to become a supplier. This is done through the suppliers tab. As you can see here, we have a couple of questionnaires that we've set up already. If we look at the example form, these are really simple to create and they're very customizable. Start with a title, select where you want this questionnaire to be open. But if you look at the actual things, you can basically select whether you want it to be a text, a yes or no answer, a number, or if they require uploading something like a certification or certificate that you want proof of. And as you can see, you can add as many questions as you see necessary. And as I mentioned, you can say, you know what, we just want this to be private and only send it to suppliers or companies that we deem as potential suppliers. So to give you an example of that, if I post this questionnaire to my organization's profile, when I hit save, a message will come up saying, because someone has already responded to this example questionnaire, I can't edit the questions, but I'll be able to publish and unpublish it. And there you go. So I haven't posted, so this is not present on my profile. So if I switch to our demo supplier account, reliable aerospace components, and I go to international systems, on the marketplace, what you'll see here is when I click on their profile, I only have the option of pinning, because I'm a user there, I can edit the details, but I basically just have messaging and pin. But now if I go back to the International Defense Systems profile and I say, you know what, I actually want to post this questionnaire, I want everyone to be able to see this particular questionnaire. When I save it, I'll switch back to our demo account, refresh the page. So now again, I'm reliable aerospace components. I look for international systems on the marketplace. When I go to their profile, as you can see now, there's a new icon that says become a supplier. When I select on this particular icon, as you can see, the questions come up, and it's very simple, intuitive, and straightforward to respond to. Now, what I can also do as an OEM or as a creator of this particular questionnaire is I can send this particular questionnaire directly to reliable aerospace components. And I'll show you how shortly. Again, it sits within your supplier section. I can basically just say, look, send it through the messaging feature. And again, it takes you to that messaging app, but as you can see here, the message is respond to this questionnaire. And I'll say reliable aerospace components. And we'll keep everything the same. Send that over. Now, if I go back to being reliable aerospace components, which, if you recall, is our supplier demo account, I'll come in, go to my inbox, and sitting there is the example form or the questionnaire that International Systems sent over to me. Once I click on it, it takes me to the questionnaire. So you have control over whether you want this particular questionnaire to be out in the public or whether you want to directly push it out to companies. But what you could also do is within that messaging app, as I showed you, I could say, you know what, every company I have tagged or given a specific tag, say Aboriginal owned, should get this particular message. So you can really specify, whether you want it to go to one or to many, or you just want to leave it open. In terms of actually interpreting this data, it is very easy to do that. You can download it. It'll just show up there at the bottom, and it comes in CSV form. So when you open it in Excel, whatever application you use, as you can see, it's very easy to manipulate, and basically the responses will drop down from here. So it is it's really easy to manipulate that data that's coming from those questionnaires. Now, as I mentioned before, you can create multiple questionnaires, but also you can archive as you deem these questionnaires not useful anymore or not for purpose anymore. As you start to grow these questionnaires, you might need to start filtering. So we've actually added this filter function that allows you to identify the questionnaires that you created within your profile. But that's really if you have quite a large number of questionnaires published on your profile. Finally, the last feature that we'll be looking at is the supplier ratings. Supplier ratings is back in the marketplace. If we continue with the reliable aerospace components example that we've been using from the beginning, basically, reliable aerospace, we met at the conference, and we can say, you know what, we've met with them a couple of times, and they are now a tier 1 supplier. So let's give that tier 1 tag. Again, this is a custom tag we've created on our profile. You could title it whatever you deem necessary. Once we save that tab, we can say, look, it's time to start rating our suppliers. So what I'll do within the marketplace is filter by that tag that we've created. So we'll look for every company we've given that tier 1 supplier tag to. Save that, and once we've done that, we'll look for reliable aerospace components, and within there we can rate them. Now these ratings, again, just like everything within OMX, is customizable. So for example, I can change these ratings or add these ratings. It's quite easy to do that. I can basically go to the settings and go to our defaults and select the ratings. This is where I can come and add in different ratings. So I'll just add in a few here. And you can add in up to 12 different ratings on your profile, but you can only have one rating set. So now, if I go back to my marketplace and repeat that again, say, let's now rate our tier 1s. I'll go to filters, tags, filter according to our tier 1s. And if we look at reliable aerospace components, I can then start to rate and that's pretty much it. It's very straightforward. From reliable aerospace components perspective, they cannot view any of the ratings, they can't view any of the tags, and they can't see any of the notes. This is just internal, so a year down the road, you have a new person that is in charge of this particular role. They'll be able to see all this historical activity and basically continue from where you left off. So it's really seamless when it comes to this rating tool. Just like the questionnaire, these are all extremely customizable and quite basic in terms of usability. We will be having more features that are going to be rolled out in the next couple months. As those come out, we'll be sure to let you know about them. But this was a short and sweet overview of these 3 ratings. I would be more than happy to individually connect with you guys and do a further deep dive if necessary. But right now at this point, I'll take questions if anyone has particular questions. I'll give it a few more minutes to see if there are any questions. One thing I will mention is if you do have any particular issues as you start to implement the questions or the ratings, or you're struggling navigating the messaging tool, you can find it all in our knowledge base here. So if you click on support at the bottom of every page, you can essentially just type in here ratings, and it'll direct you to our knowledge base and the ratings article or the messaging article that you find most relevant. And from there, if you still do have any questions navigating it, you can always reach out to us. But please let us know if you do find these articles helpful or not, because that gives us an indication of whether we should be refining these articles. But if no one has any questions, we'll be sending out copies of this webinar. And as I mentioned before, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Otherwise, thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing a couple of questionnaires and seeing people starting to utilize these ratings. Thank you.